So we move on to the main event, one of the strangest main events I've ever seen in my life. We have Cain Velasquez. Wants the belt back bad. I mean, the first Hispanic UFC champion, and I'm proud of it. He got the belt from the unbeatable Brock Lesnar, and seemingly unbeatable Brock Lesnar. And I always knew that guy was afraid to get hit. I always said it's going to take a striker, and then he felt Alistair Overeem's power and fucking quit. Going into that fight, Brock Lesnar had no intentions on retiring. He felt one knee to the solar plexus from Alistair Overeem and decided he should probably hit the bricks. And he did. And he actually did. Anyway, back to the fight. JDS Velasquez. He gets it from Lesnar, fights JDS, gets knocked out in about 9 seconds. 9 seconds into the fight, he just JDS throws a Chuck Liddell. I call him Chuck Liddell 2.0, by the way, because he's Chuck Liddell, only in heavyweight form and Brazilian. The style's the same. He keeps his hands down low, the same as Liddell did. He uses a technique, an older technique in MMA called some people just simply call it wrestling in reverse, but it was wait for fucking even numbers. Sprawl and brawl, yeah, but I have brain fart, so hold on, I'm gonna wait for an even time. The technique's called sprawl and brawl. Yeah, sprawl and brawl. Sorry about that, being that two of my favorite fighters of all time, and Jens Pulver and Chuck Liddell, actually kind of invented that way of fighting. But yeah, that's the technique he uses. He's incredibly difficult to take down, and he throws bombs. I mean, if he has one punch, epic knockout power. He actually, when he knocked out. He knocked someone out before, threw an uppercut, leaned down into it, and made his ears wiggle on the way down. And they didn't wiggle like once. It was like 3 or 4 good wiggles, like Dumbo. It was Joe Rogan actually cracked up watching the replay of someone losing consciousness because of the ear wiggle. So JDS has massive power. It seemed like the roles were reversed at first. I'm watching this fight. Cain goes into the fight with JDS, and the exact opposite happens. He catches JDS really early in the fight with an overhand right, and this guy didn't know where he was, what was going on. There was nobody home up here, and it went to all 5 rounds. At several points, and I'm going to say, and be honest, there was probably 20 or 25 times in that fight where, maybe more, no, I'll even go up to 30 times where any other mixed martial artist would have finished that fight. There was even one point where Junior Dos Santos was crawling on his hands and knees with Cain Velasquez simply holding him. Another point in the fight, he's in cross-side position. He has side control, and they're just simply spinning around in a circle. And after the fight, and then I'm sitting there going, "What the fuck? What the fucking screaming at the TV." Finally, I realized, I bet he wanted, he knows how badly he hurt him in the first round. I bet he wants to just, he's known as Cardio Cain, so why not, beat him up all fucking 5 rounds? His wrestling was working, his takedowns were working every time. I think at one point he hit 60 out of 62 takedowns were successful. So, and normally for Junior Santos, he doesn't get taken down once. Get taken down 60 times out of 62 tries. It was pretty good work by Cain Velasquez. But he did attempt an armbar, an ill-looking armbar, a very bad-looking armbar. I can see why Josh Koscheck, kind of just gave the middle finger to AKA. Shame on AKA. Shame on AKA for not having your fighter prepared. Now look. That may seem a little hasty. I know I'm going to get some backlash and some shit for this, but because he won the fight, he beat Junior Dos Santos, man. And not only that, he beat him 5 rounds, and there was 10 8s. across the board. He knocked him down. He knocked him out. He took him down at will. He battered him. He beat the champ and retained his title. I'm sorry, got his belt back. Junior Dos Santos was looking like he's going to hold that belt for a while. And no, he beat Junior Santos. Anyone that does that deserves props. Certainly, I respect every guy that steps into that cage. But the many chances he had to finish, he actually did say right after the fight, it was the game plan was my coaches. It was AKA they laid the whole thing out for me. It's I did what they told me to do. And why go 5 rounds with someone that's half unconscious? And even when he tried to rip the armbar, Junior Dos Santos was half conscious, and he still got out. You think that if you're going to wrestle somebody and you're looking for some ground and pound, a submission may open up. So you might want to really work on submissions if you're going to hit the ground in a championship fight. And it seems like the trainers at AKA didn't do that with Cain. But regardless, Cain is the new champion. I'm happy. I kind of wanted Cain, even though JDS is the nicest guy in the sport. He's a fucking huge teddy bear. Lives in Brazil. He brought that kid last time on the Countdown show. He said, can I please come with you to America to watch you fight? He said, we'll see. And it turns out, no one had thought he was actually going to bring the kid. Turns out he brought the fucking kid. He has a heart of gold. He has fists of fury, and he'll be back. He'll be back and better than ever. I'm absolutely positive of that. And so will Cain. The 5-round thing, it just confuses me. I mean, you put yourself at risk because at any time, even half conscious, a punch from JDS is going to put someone to sleep. You're going to go night-night. And it almost happened to Cain a couple times. He put himself at risk. He could have had his belt in the first round. He could have had his belt in the second, third, fourth, at the beginning of the fifth. But he chose to drag it out to easy. I don't even think they read the scores yet, and they announced him as the champion. Actually, they didn't announce the scores at all, and they announced him as the champion. It was just so blatantly obvious. It was 10-8 across the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10-8, maybe 2 10-9s. I had 3 10-8s and 2 10-9s. That's how I scored it. So, but no finish. He's known as a finisher. Look what he did to Bigfoot. Look what he did to Brock Lesnar. And these are giant men. Bigfoot Silva. They don't call him Bigfoot Silva for nothing. Brock Lesnar was a behemoth of a man. Look what he did to him. And these guys were finished in the first round with fairly easy. He did. It wasn't. It wasn't like he didn't really break that much of a sweat beating these guys. With Junior Dos Santos, he made sure to work extra hard in going all 5 rounds, and I don't see a reason for that. And I'm sure you'll read about this somewhere else. I'm sure someone else was looking at the fight going, holy shit, why isn't he going for a choke? There's so many points where, you got the guys on all fours jump on his back and sink a rear naked choke in. It was there a dozen times, maybe 15 times. And he never attempted it once. Never attempted it once. He attempted one sloppy armbar, and a half asleep Junior Dos Santos simply slid his arm out. It was just very awkward. Let me know what you thought about UFC 155s, especially the main event. Let me know what you thought about Cain's performance. Why he decided to go 5 rounds when there were so many obvious. Times where he could have finished the fight by knockout, by submission, by TKO. He could have knocked it out. He probably could have won by hugging. He probably could have hugged him to death, and JDS could have ran out of air at one point. He was so out of it. Actually, he was so out of it that when Joe Rogan went to interview him after the fight, he asked him one question, and this is what came out of his mouth. Really? So Joe Rogan was going to cut the interview short there, and then he did start to talk, but his lips were so swollen, his face was so beaten down and battered. And again, that could be, the reason for taking him all 5 rounds. He wanted to make sure he was beaten down good, for taking his belt to begin with, Send a message. I don't know, something like that. Let me know what you think about the Junior Dos Santos Cain Velasquez fight, because I'm really interested to hear other people's opinions about why that went 5 rounds, why the submission, why wasn't there some submission attempts, why wasn't he when he had him in? I mean, the JDS forehead is laying on the mat. Why wasn't he pounding on his head? You know, why wasn't he just why wasn't he FTW, man? Why wasn't he for the fucking win, for the knockout, for the submission, for the finish, for, you know, to put a stamp on it, you know, to fucking put a stamp on it, you know? Everybody wants a finish, right? Who wants to go, you know, to decision? Who wants to go to the judges? It just seemed awkward. So I can't wait to see the comments for this. So thanks for watching. Happy New Year. Don't drink and drive, even though I know 95% of you will. How about this? Just don't drink a 6-pack and drive. And yeah, I hope your holidays were fantastic. Happy New Year, and enjoy the dream card.